Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on our channel or our website. Reach out to me directly at tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Cosmograph Daytona 116520, the steel bezel, steel case model built between 2000 and 2015. This is a much-loved, discontinued in-house movement reference. 40 millimeters in diameter. The watch is 12.4 millimeters thick, and as you can see, two ways to measure it. You could measure it lug-to-lug, in which case it is 46.5 millimeters, but if we include the solid end links of the bracelet, it's a more substantial but still manageable 50.5 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now let's take a quick look at the watch on the wrist. My wrist, 16 centimeters in circumference, wears it well. It's low slung, graceful, not too broad across the wrist, no date, no cyclops eye, balanced dial, black and white, cool two-tone aesthetic that works well with a bathing suit or a business suit. This is a good all-arounder. You'll also note it is very low and slips easily underneath the cuff. I recommend it for wrists as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. Let's take a look at the hardware. This is a timepiece that features a later version of the bracelet and clasp, scrambled series, so post-2010. You can see polished center links, satin outer links, polished outer faces, removable links fixed by screws. Here's where things change a bit compared to the earlier in-house Daytonas. You have a more comprehensively finished and substantial clasp internal, media blasted and polished internally. There's the beacon hook lift lock. You see that latch, that's your first lock. Clamshell is your second, and there is a kerf underneath the crown so you can easily dig in your nail and pop it open. Now looking inside, there's an Easylink 5mm adjustment system. No tools necessary. 5mm in, 5mm out. It's the equivalent of adding or removing one sizable link. You'll also note there are tracks leading into 3 divots, so you can use your strap tool to change the anchoring point of the bracelet inside the clasp. Rolling back to the case, you can see this is not the GMT Explorer 2 Sea Dweller or Submariner case. Actually, it owes more to the design of the date justice and the day dates. One of the reasons it has such a lithe, sinuous, sensuous grace, compound curves in an almost fluid form, polished on the top as well as the flank, not squared off, not sheer. Screw down chronograph pushers and trip lock crown. The watch is 100 meters water resistant. Rolling around to the dial side, you see the bezel diplomatically calibrated in units per hour. You choose whether you are at Daytona or Spa-Francorchamps. You could be using miles or you could use kilometers. But in conjunction with the chronograph, that tack allows you to gauge the speed of an object over a fixed distance. You'll also note the lacquer fill on these old steel bezels. The lacquer would be used to fill in and highlight the numerals and the indices, and you can see that because they are fully intact and dark in every case, this is a watch that has been properly cared for and properly serviced over the years. Normally when they're roughly treated, the lacquer will wear out. The dial is gloss black with white gold coronet, hands, and indices to resist tarnish over time. There are also concentric circular guilloche metallic registers, the azurage or concentric circular guilloche on the metallic, giving a contrast with the black lacquer gloss of the dial. Now, because this is the in-house caliber Daytona, you'll note that the registers for the chronograph are slightly above the cannon pinion, slightly above the hands at center, and then you have your constant seconds down at 6 o'clock. The watch has a column wheel for crisp actuation and a vertical clutch for smooth starting. The vertical clutch also allows you to leave the chronograph running with no additional hazard, wear, or tear, an advantage over the previous El Primero. Inside the case, caliber 4130, automatic winding, bidirectional, 3-day power reserve. It was one of the first Rolex serial production movements to use a rotor bearing rather than a jeweled staff, which makes it more shock resistant. It also features a free sprung balance and a full balance bridge for additional shock resistance, 5-position adjustment, and a handmade Breguet over coil hairspring for excellent timekeeping in every orientation with respect to gravity, which is why the watch is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer. Now, the hairspring is also a niobium zirconium blue oxidized alloy that is anti-magnetic, so this watch is water resistant, shock resistant, and anti-magnetic, all 3. It pivots on 44 joules, and it does include a stop seconds function, which is a refinement that the previous El Primero based caliber 4030 did not have. Ticking away at 28,800 vibrations per hour, it is Rolex's most important modern movement because it marked the beginning of, first of all, technically accomplished in-house movements that were more than just tough and accurate, and it was one of the first Rolex calibers to be finished in a handsome fashion just in case you looked. So this is a watch that was a landmark in many regards and of course much loved and discontinued. Email tmosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And I'm back with the Rolex Daytona. Interesting transition. As you can see, the dial was built with Lume, and the watch received Rolex factory service hands using Rolex's subsequent in-house Chromolite Lume.